shelves at retail stores, waiting 3 days for a break to fill, or driving across town to find out your hobby shop closed at 4 when you always have a card show in your pocket. With Loop, you can instantly buy cards, packs, boxes, or into auctions with the click of a button, and do it all while chatting with some of the best personalities and the best community in the hobby. Download the Loop app now on iOS or Android. Loop, a card show in your pocket.
Y'all ready?
Welcome to Fish Stripes Live. Just as always, we have our great guests, Eli Sussman, Noah Berger, joining us from the ballpark. Kevin Burrell, we have a great Miami Marlins St. Louis Cardinals game tonight. Adam Wainwright is on the mound against Jesus Luzardo. As Noah has pointed out many times, there's a 16-year age difference between the two starting pitchers, so we'll definitely keep that in mind. And as always, we're going to begin by recapping the previous series, which Miami happened to win 3 out of 4. All of us got it wrong except for Noah Berger. So I'm going to go with Noah first. What impressed you the most with the Miami Marlins taking 3 out of 4 against that really revamped Phillies lineup?
So I wasn't really able to watch most of that live because it was Passover. But the offense looked good. The bats came alive. We've been waiting for years for them to finally come alive. Jesus Sanchez is hitting like nobody's business. Jazz is hitting his mind out. Offense looks good, and it's finally backing up the pitching.
Yeah, I did forget to remember that you were not able to watch most of those games. Eli, I'll go to you now. What impressed you the most of that series?
It would have to be the offense finally not just producing, but producing in runners in scoring position. That was like one particular issue that definitely held them back during that season opening road trip. And during a couple of these games, they put up huge numbers in that respect. Most of the home runs that they hit in that series were the meaningless home runs in the game that they lost when Avi and Soler went deep. So they got most of their scoring done even without leaving the ballpark, which a bunch of triples. How many triples? 4 triples in that series? Five in the whole.
2 from each of Jesus and Jazz and one more.
Yeah, something like that. So that was impressive. That what we were thinking with this offense is the biggest difference from last year was the upgrades on the power department, and that really did not impact the series. They were able to have that big offensive series even without leaving the ballpark. So I was not expecting that to happen. And that was a very pleasant surprise. And that's ultimately, I guess that's what made the difference between splitting the series, which is often how these series go, and actually winning it pretty convincingly.
Yeah, well said. Kevin Burrell, what stood out to you on this series?
I was happy overall. Besides Trevor's start, I think we all could be very happy about this series. Eliezer went 6 innings. It's something that you don't see too much. Pablo just dominant, was more of a contact type of Richard Blyer pitcher that day. Only 2 strikeouts in 6 innings. Sandy just absolutely dominating the competition. I think he went 7 if I'm correct. I mean, the offense woke up. There we go. I mean, Sandy, everyone woke up besides Jorge Soler and Avisail Garcia. And in the loss, they somehow decided to finally want to hit some homers. But besides that, I mean, very happy overall with the results. We took 3 out of 4, which is very much needed. Now we're 1 game under 500, second in the NL East. We said this from the start since last season, right before the lockout. It's all about the start for the team. They need to start off well, and they certainly have against their own division rivals. So let's see if we could do it tonight against the Cardinals.
Alex Carver from Fish on the Farm joining us about 1 minute late. All good. I want to ask you about the 2 starting pitchers from the Phillies series. I want to talk about Trevor Rogers and I want to talk about Eliezer Hernandez. Why don't we start with the bad one first?
He was tipping pitches. That's basically it. I think you heard Mel say it, that they knew when the changeup was coming. So he was doing something that they picked up on, and that's what smart teams with good coaching do. That's going to happen at the major league level. This is his first taste of it, I believe. Velo was there. Location was okay. They just knew when the changeup was coming, and if he can't throw that pitch, then that's a problem. And if they're hitting it when he throws it, that's a bigger problem. So, he was pretty much down to 2 pitches that day. When he was throwing the changeup, they were mashing it. So, is what it is. Hope he can clean that up. I have no doubt with Mel that he will. So, that's it on him. He's got a good test, though, next time out, Isaac. on the road with a 12-point-something ERA in Atlanta against the Braves. So see how he responds. Good pitchers do, and I think he's a good pitcher, so I think he'll be all right. That's it on him. Eliezer, glad to be wrong. I mean, this is a start that you get out of a fifth starter. It's a guy that will be very, very, very wild and very ineffective. Hi, Daniel. And very ineffective, and then a guy that will come out and
arrives.
There you go. And then a guy that will come out and do that. Low velocity guy. He was placing it well. Changeup looked pretty good for him, I think. And then his other breaking pitch is also good. But man, I can't get past the fact that he throws what he does, and he elevates with it, and it's been working when he's placed it. But man, if he misses a spot by 1 inch, he's gonna get mashed, bro. So, and if the breakers are off, he's gonna get hit even harder. So I still like him in the bullpen. I like the start. I thought it was really good. I think eventually he will go to the bullpen. You got Edward Cabrera ramping it back up here at Jupiter, I think on Thursday. So he's not going to be in the rotation long, but it was good to see him be effective. But then again, next start he could come out and be different. So that's just what he is. That's who he is. But yeah, glad to be wrong. I had 1 and 3. They go 3 and 1. So more power to him. I'm all for that. I'll be wrong every time if it means that.
And now joining us is Daniel Rodriguez, our scheduled host, showing up a tiny bit tardy, so I'll hand it off to him. He does a much better job at this than I do. And why don't you start with giving us your thoughts on the Philadelphia Phillies series?
I thought the Marlins played really well that series. I had them going for a split, so seeing them just getting over the Phillies 3-1 was really well. I think Eliezer had a really great start. I thought he probably played the best out of all the pitchers. I'm just looking at it now. 5 strikeouts, 6 innings, 5 hits. 5 hits, 1 earned run. I think that's really what you want to see from Eliezer. Also, Jesus Sanchez having a pretty great series. I think he won MVP for our prediction, so I think that was pretty good. I think if the Marlins could continue that, we're in for a good season, especially against the Phillies, going up against a team that just signed almost every outfield power hitter and signing a whole bunch of guys. So I think it's really great to see Miami beat them this series, and I'm ready for the Cardinals one. I know Noah's there; he's looking for Pujols probably, but I'm ready for that one.
He's right there. It's not hard to spot him.
So we'll go into that Cardinals series. I just want maybe your quick thoughts on what you see for the Marlins against the Cardinals, and maybe how the Marlins can pull off this series win against one of the better teams in the NL Central. We'll start with Isaac from the host. So now let's hear your thoughts.
Well, the Cardinals. It's going to be a fun lineup. It's really going to be nice to see Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and Adam Wainwright all in the same lineup. Really a part of that Cardinal dynasty that has really helped the Cardinals be successful for a very long time. Luzardo's going to have a tough test tonight, I think. You have all those. You have Tommy Edman leading off a switch hitter, and you got a tough 2-3-4 with I believe it has Goldschmidt, Arenado, Pujols in it, Tyler O'Neill. So he's going to have a lot of right-handed power that he's going to have to deal with. So that's going to be interesting to see. And we'll see if the offense can keep it going. I know Adam Wainwright has had his way with Miami for the most part of his career, but I think this is a good offense right now. That's they're rolling right now. So we'll see if they can take advantage of it.
Yeah, definitely a team to be scared of, not only offensively but defensively. This probably maybe the best defensive team in all of the major leagues. I mean, just that outfield is pretty crazy when you look at it defensively. And just funny stat, we'll be seeing a good friend, old friend Corey Dickerson back in Lone Depot for the first time since 2021.
Nick Whitgren's here too.
Nick Whitgren's also another player who
Carlson.
We wish would have worked out better because the Marlins got rid of him. But anyways, this is a good team. I mean, Adam Wainwright still has it at the age of 39, I want to say. But
yes.
Man, the last ride for that, I may be completely off.
40. He's 40.
He's 40. Okay, I was a year off. Yeah, good enough. But yeah, this is a scary team. I mean, Nolan Arenado is just incredible. I mean, the guy could do it on both ends, defensively, offensively. This is going to be an exciting series, but let's see how Luzardo handles it, because these guys are also vets. They know how to rack up on these young pitchers, which is something else I think we could keep in mind as well.
Yeah, for sure. This will be the last time that Wainwright and Molina form a battery in Miami. I mean, with Molina going out at the end of the year, and even if they meet them, it obviously would be in St. Louis later this season if the schedule lines up that way. So that's something that we've grown pretty used to over almost 2 decades now. like every single year with both those guys being together. It's just incredible, like the counting stats they've put up while they've both been playing together. As Kevin knows from having Molina on his fantasy team.
I got rid of him.
Oh, you got
Very
rid of him,
quickly.
yeah. So Wainwright is aging more gracefully than Molina has to this point, and that's why I think Wainwright still has the door open on potentially pitching beyond this year, because why not? He's still a really great, effective starting pitcher in this one. The key difference with this series versus the previous ones, to me, is that the Cardinals are an awesome fielding team. And they were, like last year, they were actually the best team defensively in all of baseball, whereas the Marlins are just coming off this series against the Phillies, which is on the total opposite end of the spectrum. And even the Giants and the Angels are nothing special in that regard. That's going to take some getting used to. When I talk about how they performed against the Phillies last weekend, scoring a ton of runs without even needing to hit home runs, that's going to be a different story against the Cardinals. You're going to have to actually hit it over the wall if you're going to put up crooked numbers. Otherwise, their fielders are going to get to it, especially in the outfield. They are really talented in that regard. And that's the one thing that when you size up teams, it's hard to account for defense. But the Cardinals last year, and it seems so far early this year, that's one advantage they have against most other teams.
I will say Albert Pujols has hit a home run in every single active major league ballpark except for here. So if he doesn't hit one here, someone's going to be upset.
He's got a tough
His last
matches to
chance.
go against. To catch up to Luzardo 99 and to catch up to Sandy Sinker and of hit Pablo Lopez out, I would be surprised if he hits one out. And of knowing that he's probably
when the
will.
Dodgers got here last season, was he already on the Dodgers or had he not been signed yet?
Yeah, he was in the Dodgers. I remember covering the game, and then I saw Pujols.
He didn't play much.
He talked to Mattingly. I think he had maybe played one game, maybe
one.
That was very fresh off of him signing with the Dodgers.
Yeah, that must have been probably a week or so. But I was looking at this Cardinals lineup, and you mentioned them fielding, but offensively, they're also one of the better teams in the league. They are top 6 in almost every major category for the Cardinals and offensively. And you also talked about their lineup. We mentioned this in our staff meeting a couple days ago, how the Cardinals roster is littered with guys who potentially could be Hall of Famers, guys like Pujols, first ballot, Molina, Wainwright could be a Hall of Famer, and then guys who could be on the ballot like Arenado, Goldschmidt, and then they also have a lot of young talent who could be all-stars, maybe even future guys like that, like Carlson, Harrison Bader, who's one of the top defensive center fielders in the league, Tommy Edman. So just looking at this lineup, it's just one of the most incredible things I think the Marlins are going to have to go against is this lineup. Is there any name for you guys that really stands out that the Marlins have to stop?
Well, one thing no one should get used to seeing is, those two OPSs of below 500 for Dylan Carlson and Paul Goldschmidt. That's going to change. Hopefully it doesn't change tonight. But you're right. You mentioned all those Hall of Famers, Wainwright, Molina, Pujols, all pretty much, you'd think first ballot.
Nolan
and then
could be
Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, the ones that are cementing that status. I think we saw them a lot in spring training. Obviously, they share Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. It's going to be a very tough lineup to keep at bay. I know we said the same thing about Philadelphia. They have a revamped lethal offense as well. But this team can hit. They play baseball the right way. They've been doing it for years, and it's going to be a tough series, no doubt about it. It's the whole lineup, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think we see a lot of quickness in it besides, Goldschmidt and Pujols. Dylan Carlson looks like a pretty fast player. Harrison Bader is a jet. I mean, besides that, DeJong has some speed. Edman, this is a very quick lineup. So Jacob Stallings may be on, I think we may see a good amount of throws to second base tonight with caught stealings.
Yeah, I think the name that people are probably forgetting, I think if the guy that really have to probably be handled for the Marlins, that's someone like Tyler O'Neill. I think he's really underrated. I think he has potential to be one of the top players in the National League. And he's hitting 3 for a reason. They really trust Tyler O'Neill. And I think that's someone that the Marlins really have to focus on. They might have to put their attention to Goldschmidt or Arenado, Pujols, Edman. And then, a guy like Tyler O'Neill can go and have a multi-hit game tonight or later in the series. So for me, that's probably the guy that the Marlins would have to probably focus on if they want to win this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. If someone can refresh my memory, I think it was Goldschmidt who hit an absolute nuke. I think it was off Trevor Rogers in spring training this year.
It was him.
I think O'Neill O'Neill may have gone someone as well. It's a great combination of power and speed that the St. Louis Cardinals team has with Carlson and Edman. DeYoung is a middle infielder who can hit 30 home runs. It's a really, fascinating lineup that this team has.
Yeah, it was Goldschmidt. I think that was the only run that was hit off Trevor Rogers that game, and Roger Dean. I think that's the one I covered. Yeah, that was the one. Yeah.
You mentioned it, Isaac. Great careers for Albert, obviously Molina, first ballot Hall of Famers, like you guys said. But I think those are the least of the Marlins' worries in this series because of where they're at in their careers. I think the main worries here, O'Neill for sure. I have him on my fantasy team, so I'm not going to complain if he gives me stats, but hopefully he doesn't do too much.
I will complain.
I'm sure he will. The big one for me is Carlson. That guy hit a grand slam, I think, against Zach Pop last year. He's got 2 home runs against the Marlins. He's really good. That's a star in the making. I saw him come up with the Cardinals. He's solid. So yeah, definitely don't get used to 182, 479 for him. Hits, runs, like Kevin said, plays the field pretty well too. So I like that kid. I think that's the guy to stop. But yeah, you guys are right. It's a good lineup, man. And we see them all the time. Like you guys said, spring training. If you go out to Hammerheads games, you'll see their guys coming up. I've seen a couple of these guys coming up. So yeah, they know how to do it, and they build their prospects right. They build from within, as you see with guys that have been in this organization for so long, and they keep them around when they think that they're great players. And when they don't, they get rid of them. So it's another Rays type system for me. I think they do very well. Their farm director does it well. Their ownership does it well, and they have an avid fan base for a reason because they're used to building winners. So yeah, it's going to be a fun series and a good test. I mean, no lefties, no lefties for Luzardo tonight. I mean, that's hard.
There's 2 switch hitters.
Yeah, but they're going to
be hit right. Yeah,
he ain't going to face no lefties. He's not going to face a lefty. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Good test for Luzardo. I hope he can build off last start.
Carlson,
I was
third
looking
in
at
the rookie of the year voting.
I was going to mention the OPS. Like, I'm just looking at this lineup. It really shows that the Cardinals really want their high OPS guys, like almost back to back to back. Like you look at 4, 5, 6 guys over 1 OPS, even Tyler O'Neill 7.57, and then you look at ours. Our highest OPS guy is hitting 7, and then everything else you have a 6, 4. I just really crazy to see how the Marlins do their lineup compared to the Cardinals, who want their guys almost back to back. Where Miami, they're just putting them wherever.
Hey,
that's me.
Hey. Hi. I just wanted to say hi. Hola.
Hola, Daniel. ¿Cómo estás?
I'm taking care of him.
Babysitting.
He's babysitting me.
What a
you got my headphones all sweaty.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, good time to remind people that next Monday we have a Marlins Jeopardy episode planned, the first one in season. And of course, Daniel Alvarez was undefeated during the off-season episodes of that show.
And Isaac mentioned that 2, 3, and 4 is scary, but man, that 5, 6, 7 looks pretty scary too. Those are, I'm pretty sure, the high OPS guys. That Pujols, Edman,
4, 5, 6.
DeJong has a pretty high.
DeYoung.
I just spelled it for you in the private chat, man.
Yeah, you did. You know what I mean. These guys have high OPSs. I think overall this lineup is very scary. Harrison Bader is the only one that doesn't scare me too much. Yachty's been pretty bad. That's why I had to get rid of him.
Harrison Bader doesn't terrify you?
Defensively, yes.
He's probably the best center.
He terrifies me to my core.
Defensively, he does. Offensively,
he's better than any fielder we have on this team. So
I said defensively, no.
I got a question for you guys regarding the Marlins lineup. Coming off a day off, Jorge Soler is sitting.
I said that to my father today.
They're coming off a day off. He's been terrible. Let's say it for what it is. I mean, Garcia's been bad too, pretty bad, but he kind of has an excuse because I know he wasn't feeling well with his back. But man, coming off an off day, and that was the first thing I looked at. I was like, Sanchez leading off, no Jorge Soler. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, there's really no excuse other than performance to not have him in the lineup tonight. And then the second thing I'll say on that is Sanchez leading off. I don't know about that move either. That's a lot of strikeouts at the top of the line. I love Jesus. He's been doing great. Call it for what it is. 0 speed, number 1, and a ton of strikeouts.
He's got 2 triples.
Let's see.
He's got a triple.
I mean, very low. Very low.
What I pitched
Who
to
you
the
guys
group
put
chat
at the number one spot? Who's your
was,
guys?
what I said was,
Wendell.
why not have Wendell, the guy who whiffs the least amount of anyone on the team by a wide margin, on the top of the list of Major League Baseball, have him lead off and keep Jesus in the third spot, have Chisholm in the 6th, 7th spot like you have him there. But it was a strange choice to have Jesus Sanchez lead off. I don't know if Eli can tell us how much he's led off in his minor league career.
Never in the majors, and I'd have to double check in the minors.
I don't think
very,
ever
very,
in
the
yeah,
majors, but
very, very rarely.
I don't. Maybe like very early in the Dominican or something, maybe. But I did not see him lead off in the minors for the Marlins.
Weird.
I don't know about it.
And when he is your biggest run producer, arguably, what I don't understand having him
Who's batting 9th? Is it
lead off. It's Stallings. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that makes
No, it's
sense.
Rojas. Rojas is hitting 9th.
Okay. I mean,
Miguel will be hitting 9th.
I don't know what they're trying to recreate with Sanchez at batting first, but
I mean, the other thing, Isaac, to mention to you, you say you would have Wendell lead off. I think that's a pretty good decision. I would say Wendell second because that's your best on base guy. And in this scenario, I know they love Jazz in RBI spots, and I agree with that. But man, I think that's the clear guy that's got to go up clearly.
Eventually, the splits are outrageous when he's hitting the bottom of the order versus when he's hitting first or second. He is so much better in the bottom lineup. Last year in April, he got off to such a fire start, and I would.
Yeah, and I know you'll say don't mess with what's working, right? And I mean, true. But that guy can hit anywhere in the lineup. He'd be fine leading off. I would bat him lead off and put Wendell second, put Cooper down. But yeah, it's an interesting lineup. I'm surprised. I haven't been on Twitter that much. I'm sure Donnie's been getting blown up, but I have questions about this one for sure.
What I'll note is that through 9 games, Soler was the only Marlins player that had started all 9 games, and that's why he's sitting this one. They believe everybody at some point should be sitting. So that's I say that because he's probably going to be back in there at the leadoff spot tomorrow, no matter what. There's no imminent change coming to that top of the order. But like a lot of you, I was surprised that the fill-in for him at the leadoff spot is Sanchez instead of, if not Jazz, then Wendell would be a logical choice. And of course, last year, Miggy Rowe did a lot of leadoff hitting, but that was almost exclusively against lefties. So, we'll see what they settle on. If Soler stays hot, well, he's been hot the last couple of games. So if he stays hot, then they're going to leave him there. But if somebody is hotter, such as Sanchez or Jazz, then pretty soon that conversation is going to get louder and louder about just putting your best players in an opportunity to hit as often as possible. Sanchez has been near the top of that order from the very beginning. Jazz is basically never near the top of that order, despite arguably being their best hitter to this point this season.
Yeah, and that's a point I wanted to mention that they beat me to, that Soler's played almost every game for the team. He's actually played every game, and he's let it off. I think it was time to get him to sit down at some point. And we'll definitely see him tomorrow. And I think he's the one who had the least amount of spring training action as well, because if you remember, he signed during the Marlins spring training. It was towards the end of spring training, so he did get the least amount of action, so he's probably gotten the most amount of regular season action. So
I mean, Donnie was asked about it. I forget his exact answer, but it was pretty much they wanted to give him rest at the beginning, at the front end of a series, so that they could have him and not have to rest at the back end of a series.
They're coming off a day off. I don't understand that answer. Anyway,
scheduled days off.
I get where you're coming from, but I guess they want to give him, some more time.
Right. Whenever they give a big league regular who's been doing it for a long time, a day off either right before or right after an off day, to me, that's strange to me. But I guess they'd rather give him a day off against maybe it's with Wainwright. I don't know who St. Louis does have scheduled for the next 2 days.
Is tomorrow Jordan Hicks?
Jordan Hicks is Thursday.
Thursday's
Jordan Hicks.
That's going to be fun.
Oh my God, Jordan Hicks is in the rotation now.
Yeah, can't wait.
But yeah, it's just strange. They have another off day coming up too, like in next week early. So just strange.
Yeah, right. I don't get it. And I don't know if he. I mean, Donnie's pretty honest. I don't know if he would.
A week. It's a week from today. They're next.
Yep.
No, it's next Monday. They're off there, the 25th.
Right. I mean, Donnie's pretty honest. He always answers questions very honestly. I don't know if he would say that he's benching the guy because of any other reason. I really don't understand what the other reason other than what Eli said, that they bench guys early. I mean, they did it with Jazz. Maybe they're doing it with him. I don't know. but hasn't been great. I don't know. I think he's been okay the last 2 games, but it is what it is. And then to finish on that for me, to whether we agree with it or not, that's a huge vote of confidence for Jesus Sanchez going up against Adam Wainwright to have him the first guy that's going to face him. So, yeah, something to be said for that for sure. And I hope Sanchez stays hot. Sure. Interesting to see, but I'm glad that they have confidence in him.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's game, is it Miles Michaelis? Would he be up for the Cardinals? I believe
He's
so.
up. He's up in the second game.
To
You're
be
right.
determined. Cardinals
I
haven't announced.
just got him on my fantasy team.
I know I
and
had him and I dropped him because he had a bad game. But I want to talk a little bit about the bullpen between both teams. Because I think really, for me, the bullpen really stands out. Maybe 1 or 2 guys. They were using Jordan Hicks in the bullpen, but now he's going to be pitching on Thursday. I think that was the guy that was really popping out to me in the bullpen. And also Giovanni Gallegos is another guy that really stands out to me from the Cardinals bullpen. Do you think, in terms of comparing bullpens, that the Marlins have enough to maybe compete with them? Or is it just kind of like what we saw earlier in the year with the Giants, where they maybe had a better bullpen compared to the Marlins?
I think that's a great question to get to on the other side of the break. People are
Everyone will
hanging on
think
our every word about bullpen comparisons. But first, 30 seconds from our wonderful partners at Loop.
Why bother with empty shelves at retail stores, waiting 3 days for a break to fill, or driving across town to find out your hobby shop closed at 4 when you always have a card show in your pocket? With Loop, you can instantly buy cards, packs, boxes, or into auctions with the click of a button, and do it all while chatting with some of the best personalities and the best community in the hobby. Download the Loop app now on iOS or Android. Loop, a card show in your pocket.
So after that quick break, and we had all our thoughts, what are your guys' thoughts on the bullpen comparisons? How would you compare bullpens? And maybe what does the Miami bullpen have to do to not let this game get crazy with that Cardinals lineup?
I think with the with the move from the bullpen to the rotation for Hicks and also Alex Reyes being on the injured list on the 60-day IL, I think Miami might have the slight edge over St. Louis in the bullpen category. I know you mentioned Giovanni Gallegos. I think he's amazing. Genesis Cabrera as well. He's a tough lefty to face for any left-handed batter. But besides that, you got former Marlin Nick Whitgren there. So other than that, not a lot of recognizable names. I know some of them, but they have not performed too well so far. But I think Miami might have the slight edge in the bullpen.
First we have to shout out the Marlins bullpen. They've actually been able to hold it up pretty well throughout the season. I mean, after that first really bad game in San Francisco, Bender's been good. Bass has been actually pretty good. It's been impressive. Oker has been just absolutely dominant. The weird one was Castano. He's still down, which I found surprising, but they have their reasoning and I'll respect it. So Marlins bullpen definitely has been pretty good. I like how they're using Cole Sulser. He was a little bit shaky, I think, that first start, but then after that, he's just been really good. There's not much to say. I do think the Marlins have the better edge. Not by much, though, because that Cardinals bullpen is pretty damn good. So we'll see what happens tonight. Miami's the home team, obviously. So, pitcher friendly for them. They know the ballpark more than St. Louis. I'm excited to see how this bullpen goes throughout it today because they were pretty good in that Philly series, except game 3.
And also on that point of bullpen, they will be getting Dylan Floro, it looks like, very soon. I think it was reported he had a bullpen session today and looked pretty good. So that's another piece the Marlins can add to that already, bullpen that they had that's playing really well. And we threw 16 pitches of live BP. So just Dylan Floro is another piece added to that bullpen rotation. And where do you guys, when Floro does come back, where do you see him fit in? Whose place will he maybe take in that bullpen?
That's something that Isaac and I talked about on Unfiltered. It hasn't dropped yet, but I think we said they'll give him the chance, like a closer by committee. But if Bender keeps going the way he is, give him the setup job at this point. If Bender's been pretty good so far, so just give him the setup at the moment. I wouldn't mind it. But if Bender just a couple bad starts or closing opportunities, then I think you could try Floro for a couple games.
Not to me.
Yeah.
To me, Bender really hasn't done a whole lot at all to make him a clear closer at the moment. Has he had a single perfect outing to this point?
No.
And I'm the biggest Bender advocate there is, but to me, if Floro, assuming he looks great in his rehab outings, whether it's 2 or 3 of those, then I would plug him right back into closer. You said some positive things about the bullpen in general, but there's not a single guy in this entire pen who's been great every time out, not even Okert. And by default, this is just my take. If Floro was the one who ended last year as their closer, then I would kind of just plug him right back in as soon as he's ready. Whether they will do that, I'm not sure, because that is still at least a week away. He still has to make a few of those rehab outings. Yeah. He's not coming back until next week at the very earliest. So that there's still multiple outings to come from pretty much all the key guys in this bullpen to try to solidify themselves in that role. And for now, it's Bender's job, and I get that. So we'll see how he does the next few times out.
I know it's a very small sample. I mean, you don't want to dig too much into 3 innings or whatever the heck he's thrown, but he's allowed 4 hits and he has like a FIP over 7. So yeah, you're right. I mean, that's not shutdown closer stuff. It really is not. I love Bender too, man, but I think he's more suited right now, at least, for the setup job. I think you move him back to the 8th, put Floro in the 9th. I think that makes the bullpen a lot better. I mean, it's good. I really do agree with you, Eli, that Floro's got to be the guy in the 9th when he comes back.
Yeah, no matter where they do end up putting Floro, it's going to lengthen this bullpen significantly, and that's going to be huge for this team. I think I made the prediction on Unfiltered, not to tease it, but still download it, guys, when it does release. But I did make the prediction that if Bender does get a save opportunity in this series and he locks down a save in Atlanta, and they are like Eli said, a perfect saves, perfect outings anyway. If he's on the right momentum, I think they might keep him at closer if he does come off of a couple of good outings. But like you guys said, he's been far from perfect in his closer's job so far. So I do think if that continues, even if he gets the saves, if he's still like Messi and he gives up leadoff hits and leadoff home runs, they might just give it back to Floro because I think he's got the most experience by far.
He hasn't been perfect, but to be honest, I mean, the Phillies started, it was only 1 hit, what he gave up to Real Muto, and then immediately gets Harper into the fly.
He gave up a hit to Bohm, and then he gave up a hit to Real Muto. It was 2 hits.
Boom. Yeah, okay. But still, he's gotten saves. That's the thing. So
can I mention something slightly off topic since Isaac mentioned the Braves series really quick
there? You go. Acuna to AAA, huh?
Yeah. Acuna facing Max Meyer tonight.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
In AAA baseball. Watch that game.
Yeah.
I think
Eli, you're muted.
What I noticed is that Astudillo is starting at second base tonight for Jacksonville. That's a choice.
And then for Gwinnett, Marlins legend,
he's going.
The Lee Shields. The Shields is going to be starting.
He's going. Astudillo's going to start at every single position for Jacksonville this season. It's just ridiculous.
So let's get a prediction there. What's your prediction on Meyer and Acuna after Noah gives his thoughts?
I'm just going to give my quick thoughts and I got to head out. I'm really looking forward to this series. I think the Marlins will do all right. I'm really looking forward to Jesus Luzardo facing the fossils that are the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm really hoping Max Meyer does not pitch too far inside to Acuna because we will not hear the end of it. It'll be hysterical, and it's probably going to happen, but I really hope it doesn't. Am I allowed to give my series prediction before I head out?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm the eternal
MVP.
I'm the eternal optimist. I'm going. We take 2 or 3, and I will go with. I'm going to go with Jazz again.
Noah's sticking on the Jazz train.
Worked for me in the past. All right, I'm going to head out. I will see you guys.
Good luck tonight, brother.
Good luck, Noah.
Luck, sir.
So on that note, talking about predictions, what are your guys on Meyer versus Acuna? What do you think is going to happen? Does he get plunked? Does he hit a home run? What happens?
Oh, real quickly for Omar and everybody listening, it's on milb.tv. It's a subscription service. If you actually want to watch the whole thing, it's on there. But I'm sure you're going to see highlights from Alex on Marlins Miners, and I'll probably tweet out some myself. You're going to see the highlights for sure spread around. But to watch the whole game, it's on milb.tv.
Oh, man, I got to watch my guy MD Johnson in single A event. No, I'm just kidding. I'll post some highlights for you.
Has Gwinnett released their lineup yet? Is Acuna leading off, I assume?
Yeah, the Shields
Acuna,
is in
Brandon
it.
Shoemake, Travis Demeter, William Contreras, Delino De Shields is batting 7th. Ryan Goins,
Marlins legend.
yeah. But
So, yeah,
mainly
I
everyone
think-
wants to see Acuna, but that's the main thing for that
Yeah.
game. I hope it's not first pitch home run.
I think it's gonna be a leadoff walk for Max Meyer. He's gonna have some jitters facing
Acuna's leading off.
Acuna
Yeah.
is leading off. I think he's gonna be, I think Meyer will strike him out at least once tonight, 100%.
No,
I just have a feeling that
If Meyer
thing you gotta
dominates
understand-
Acuna, and I know
the thing-
Acuna's injured, but if Meyer dominates him, you better have that man in the major leagues quicker than you could ever think, because I want
Kevin.
Myers up in the major leagues as soon as possible.
It's his
Bullpen
first
team.
rehab start for Acuna, so let's.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't think you should take that start. If he strikes him out, it's whatever at this point. But it's wrong with Acuna. That guy could really, he's probably one of the best players in all of the MLB. And I don't like Ronald Acuna too much because of the past, but you got to respect the player he is, and he's really freaking good. So
It's Acuna. You're right. Let me give you my prediction. Max Meyer is afraid of nobody. He says it himself. He doesn't back down from anybody. He attacks hitters. I think Acuna gets 3 at bats, 2 strikeouts. Max Meyer.
Ooh.
Oh, the optimist. I like it.
Oh, look who put that tweet. Oh.
Wow. All
What
right,
day was
Miami.
it? April 18th? What day is it today? Oh, okay.
This was tweeted out last night at 11:33 p.m. when I was watching the Dodgers-Braves game. They did announce that Acuna would be leading off tomorrow or starting his rehab assignment against Jacksonville. And I quickly searched up who's pitching for Jacksonville, and it was none other than Miami's top pitching prospect, Max Meyer. So that's going to be a lot of fun and gain a lot of traction, that tweet. And I think I'm going to be watching that game as much as I'll be watching Jesus Luzardo take on this big league St. Louis Cardinals tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Like Kevin said, let's say Meyer does pitch well against Acuna. Maybe he gets a couple strikeouts. Who knows? Does that lead to Meyer maybe quickly coming into the majors? Is that what the Marlins front office and everyone needs to see? Is that maybe a catalyst, or is that just another game for Meyer?
They're just waiting. They're waiting for any opportunity in the big league level to open up for him. I think they know he's ready, and whatever he does is not going to change their mind. They're just waiting for Eliezer to struggle, someone to get hurt, and then he will be the first man up.
Well, let me ask you a question to answer that one, Danny. You got Edward throwing. I think it's Thursday, if I'm not wrong. And
Yeah, you're right.
He'll probably get like 2 starts there, and then maybe 1 or 2 in Jacksonville, and then he'll be coming back. So you figure, as good as Eliezer was his last start, right, a couple days ago, you figure that if Edward shows that he's ready and shows that he's fully healthy, then that's his spot, right? That's what you got to figure. But then where do you put Max Meyer, and why would you start his clock right now? You won't. So like Isaac said, wait for an injury. Wait for the extra control as well. So. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, as much as I think Meyer will do well tonight, I really don't think that he can do much more to show that he's ready to be here, other than throw the changeup a little bit more. But he's thrown it pretty well, I think, from everything that Baseball America has posted and everything that I've seen. I think it's been really good. So I don't think he can do a lot more to prove it. So another feather in the cap if he gets Acuna a couple times tonight, though, for sure.
Yeah. To clarify something that came up on our previous stream about Meyer's service time, by the time he's ready to make his next start after tonight, by this weekend or next week, then the cutoff is going to be passed in terms of gaining the extra year of control over him. We're just a week away from that deadline to get essentially 7 seasons of control instead of 6. So that will no longer be a factor holding him down. There could be other things about really being sure about the quality of his changeup. There could be considerations about his reaching arbitration earlier and wanting to save money a few years down the road. But the big one that usually holds down top prospects is that extra year. And so that will not be an obstacle anymore after this outing. That's not going to be holding him back. It's all the other stuff. Some of the actual real excuses they might have versus some of the other ones that are kind of just fabricated about that.
You mean like Bryson Brigman not being ready defensively? Like they'll make, if they want to hold the guy down, they'll make something up, right? So, but yeah, when a guy's kicking down the door like this, like you said, I don't think you'll see it by this time next week, even though that extra year of control will be here, like you said. I think it's more midway point of the season for me that you could realistically see this guy in the major leagues.
To quickly address this question from Navi, he's on the minor league IL at this time.
Yeah, and something about Cabrera, I think they're going to be extremely careful with him. He might even get 3 starts in Jupiter and then go to Jacksonville, and I think they're going to be extremely careful with him because it's the second time it's been his bicep. I actually now I see at the beginning of the year I was on the opposite side of it, but I do think we see Max Meyer before Edward Cabrera in the major league level. I think they're going to be extremely cautious with Edward. I think they view him as the potential ace for this team for a long time.
With Meyer, he has nothing to prove in AAA anymore besides that changeup and maybe a little bit more. But come on, you got to make it happen at some point. And now it's very difficult because Eliezer just had probably one of his best starts since a while. I mean, one of his longest starts as well. And the guy won 6 innings, which we never see from Eliezer. We usually see him go 4 or 5, which it's good, but it's not what we need.
Yeah, it's a good
Trevor's been playing. Trevor's been bad. It's a sophomore slump.
We'll get to Trevor. We'll get to Trevor
at some point, but they're not going to send the guy down. They're not going to do anything with him. He's staying right where he is. This guy was second in the running for Rookie of the Year. It's just a little bit of a sophomore beginning slump, and he'll get better. But I don't know what they're going to do with Max Meyer if they really want him to start. The bullpen seems like a very nice idea, and I know you don't like it, Alex and Eli, but I love it. And I think Max Meyer in the bullpen would just be absolutely dominant. Miami's bullpen would be one of the better ones in the league, I would say.
I think at this point, I don't think they're gonna. I thought that was a great idea to begin the season. I still do think that they should have. Like, imagine how nasty that bullpen would have been. But at this point, he's starting, he's pitching. He threw 5 perfect freaking innings with a lower body cramp. He's gonna be a starter. There's no way. But now the question is maybe eventually put Eliezer in the bullpen. I think that's the next thing in mind. But he had a phenomenal performance against Philadelphia last start, gave him 1 run during his 3rd time through the order again, which, like clockwork. But we'll have to see. They have some great decisions to make, and they're good decisions to have as a major league team.
It always surprised me that they didn't put Eliezer in the bullpen to begin the season off, because I think that's what they should have done. But, with Edward injured, didn't make much sense. I guess Max Meyer, they wanted to see some starts in AAA, and now we have. And I don't like that Edward Cabrera to the bullpen tweet, but not at all. I respect your opinion. I respect the opinion, but I wouldn't do it. But anyways, yeah, I think it's time to now put Eliezer in there. I mean, you give Max Meyer maybe 1 or 2 more starts, and he's absolutely dominant. You have to bring him up. You have no other option at that point. I mean, he has nothing to prove in AAA. He's dominating that competition. Like, if it's nothing, he made his first AAA start last season, and he struck out 13, a career high. You have to do it. I mean, you can't keep a guy down there for this long. And they've done this with Bryson Bergman. They've done this with Brian Miller, who had a pretty good at bat. A couple of good series with the Yankees. That one at bat or 2 he had. You can't mess it up with Meyer at this point.
Yeah. So we'll go off a little bit on Meyer. I think there's one thing we all can agree: the top 100 prospect, definitely in the majors. But on the next talk, we'll talk about
easy, Danny.
we'll talk about it. The curious case of Trevor Rogers so far this year. Started 2 games, 6 2/3 inning, 0-2, 2.25 WHIP, and an ERA of over 12. I don't know what to say. I'm just gonna leave it up to you guys. Trevor is not having a great start to the season. I'll just leave it to you guys. This is probably the one that I was probably most confused of starting this year, just seeing how Trevor's doing. And do you guys have any worries? Like, is this the worst that we're going to get from Trevor? Is this what can we see for him to improve on?
Not even rookie Trevor Rogers was this bad, right? I mean, not, the rookie when he came in 2020, Trevor Rogers, not last year.
Yeah, even
his San Francisco start was okay. It wasn't good, but it was okay. Yeah. This Phillies one was just horrid. I mean, this was unwatchable. So I'm not worried. I think he'll come back against Atlanta, big game, and you'll hopefully have one of his 2021 beginning of the season Trevor Rogers starts and bounce back from this. I'm not too worried.
Yeah. With him, I don't think it was ever realistic to expect that he would actually be better this year than he was last year. The league makes adjustments to you. And if he was to go through a full season's workload, there are just some ups and downs to be expected. The one thing with Trevor that is, I wouldn't call it a flaw, but it's somewhat of a limitation, is that he only has 3 pitches. He has a 3-pitch mix instead of 4 or more, which a lot of starters do. It's just 4-seamer, slider, changeup. And the slider last year was kind of inconsistent for him. That was supposed to be his big point of emphasis entering this year, is how he thought he was going to get that to the level of his other pitches. Still to be determined on that. But that's contributes to incidents like his last start, where it wasn't that he was awful on his own in a vacuum. It's that the Phillies were able to get his pitches, that he was tipping his pitches because he has 3 of them. And they were able to get indications with their advanced scouting about when he goes to a certain one. So the smaller the variety of your pitches, the more prone to that type of thing you are than other starters would be. That's something that I considered when I was looking ahead to this year. I still think he's great. He does a lot of positive things, even with those 3 pitches. So to answer your question, I think this is kind of the low point for him. That he's going to be fine moving forward. Just in terms of somebody that was potentially you thought he was going to be the ace of the staff this year. To me, it's always been pretty clear cut that Sandy is the guy that, for the most number of reasons, you can rely upon, and that everybody else in this rotation has some sort of question mark, and that includes Trevor for some of those reasons that I mentioned.
And I think it's good that Trevor's making, these mistakes now compared to when it really, really matters the most towards the end of the season, midway through the season, where they could be competing for a playoff spot. So if it happens now, I'll take that. I'll take that now over, you're coming towards the end of that year. But yeah.
Just to look at his usage, and I know it's only 2 starts so far this year for him. He's trying to use that slider, like Eli mentioned, a lot more, at least through his first 2 starts. I mean, last year only 14.8%, so under 15%, and this year 21% so far. So he's trying really hard to get that slider more, included into what he's doing. Is that because of last start where he couldn't throw the changeup because they were picking up on it? Maybe. It definitely could be. But I really think he wants to try to get that slider to be more usable, and so far it really hasn't been that usable. So then you're talking about a guy that's down to 2 pitches, and he and like Eli said, the league's going to adjust to you, and you got to adjust back. So they're trying to get this. I think they really are trying to get that slider more included for him. He's trying to use it more, and then on top of that, he was tipping the changeup, I believe. So yeah, that's what it's been so far through these first 2 starts. Just trying to use a slider. It hasn't been as good as maybe he'd hoped, and then guys are picking up on the changeup. It is what it is. So
there was a start.
I think he'll be all right. I think I agree with Eli that this is a point for him, that this is his lowest probably that he's ever been in a long time at least. But I think he'll be fine. I trust in Mel. Trust with him to pick that slider up, clean up whatever he was doing to tip. I think he's going to be fine.
There was a start last year, correct? There was determined that he was tipping his pitches. I don't know if it was against the Cardinals or was it against the Phillies as well. I think it was last year.
And it could happen to a lot of people. I believe one of Sandy's blow up starts was also when either against the Dodgers or the Rockies. Sandy had those 2 starts.
It was both teams.
Yeah, where at least one of those felt like a similar situation where they just knew what's coming. They were laying off particular pitches and just not swinging and missing the way that you would expect. So it could happen to everybody over the course of a full length season. But to answer your question, I think it happened to Trevor specifically at one point last year too.
And it happened in this first start against St. Louis, coincidentally.
I think that was just one where you could not throw strikes. And then when he was dominant for a long time, and all of a sudden, I think it was Philadelphia that got to him at some point in May. They just absolutely were raking him. I think that was a start.
I say it to you guys a lot about prospects and young pitchers about how big repeatability is. And I think you're kind of seeing it right here at the big league level. If you can't repeat and you're doing something with your arm, or if you're lower in your arm slot, if you're, doing something with your windup to where you're showing what you're going to throw, then advanced scouting is, with the technology that is around today, is going to blow you up. And that's what Trevor is living through right now. So yeah, like I said, though, trust in Mel. I think he's going to be fine. Mel built that changeup that he has from the ground up. I think he'll be able to clean it up and get whatever he's doing to tip it away from him. So I think he's going to be fine.
So before we get to prediction time, does anyone have anything they want to talk about really quick? Maybe something about the series, down in the minors. Anything before we get into predictions?
Should we give Brian De La Cruz some love just for no?
No. We should use this valuable time to look at Luzardo, who starts tonight, who was incredible his first time out against the Angels. I prepared the highlights, so I didn't want to waste them. 12 strikeouts against the Angels in just 5 innings. He did get some assistance early on from the Shadows. It was a weird start time on the West Coast. I want people to keep that in mind, the Shadows, and how it was harder for hitters on both sides. Remember, the Marlins hitters were doing pretty bad too. Situations just like that, where the Shadows started in the middle between the mound and home plate. So my bold prediction is that he does not get 12 strikeouts tonight. It's going to be fewer than 12. There's no shadows inside at Lone Depot Park. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But beyond that, the stuff was every bit as good as we saw in spring training. The hype that people within the Marlins organization had for him entering the year was justified. It was a very exciting step forward. It goes a long way to erasing some of my doubts about him last year when obviously he didn't perform. That we can, at the very least, expect somewhat of an improvement from him based on the quality of the stuff and the better strike throwing. That was a nice fastball right there. It was really encouraging.
Yeah, I spoke to Luzardo on Friday, and I asked him about that start. I think I'm not going to quote him exactly, but he told me he wasn't thinking as much. He was just going out there and pitching. And he said that's something that definitely helped him be consistent and get into that strike zone and have the start he eventually had. So I'll send you the guys the clip later so you could see, but I think I haven't even posted that. There's a lot of pressers I haven't posted yet. So
hey, you could tell the shadows had a big effect on the lefty hitters against Luzardo. Brandon Marsh, Shohei Ohtani, they did not have a single chance against.
Brandon Marsh has been pretty good.
They were totally helpless in that start against Luzardo, which is why I was very surprised that they did take him out with 76 pitches in the 5th inning. Anyway, I digress. But yes, I think the shadows did have a little bit of an effect there for sure, especially against the lefties. We'll see how he pitches tonight at home.
I'll tell you guys what the difference maker for that guy is. And yeah, maybe the shadows helped. I think you're probably right. But I'll go back to usage. I mean, I mentioned this with the last guy we talked about. I'll mention this with him too. The fact that he is using that slurvy slider, I think it's a slider. They call it a slider on mapping. I think it's like more of a curveball, but whatever. It looks like both. Whatever. That pitch is ridiculous. It's his best pitch. It's 70 grade. It's right now currently they call it 60 grade. Per a couple different sites. They have it at 60, but they have future value at 70, so it could still get better, which is insane to think about. But in that start, threw that pitch 50% of the time. He threw that pitch 28% of the time in 2021. So I think it's unrealistic to think that he's going to throw that pitch half the time in all of his starts because it's not going to happen. But the fact that he's using his best pitch at such an elevated rate is great. Great to see for him. I'm so happy that he did that. His fastball, of course, as we know with the velo, and then he's down into the low 80s with that pitch. That's dead nasty, and he can mix in the changeup too. So, I know they're much different pitchers, but you got Max Meyer, who has a dead nasty, really good running fastball, and a filthy slider that is as good as, if not better than that Luzardo pitch. Not much of a changeup yet. Same thing with Luzardo. One's in the majors, one's in the minors. So you guys make it make sense to me. I don't know. I guess I'll just relate it to age. Anyways, yeah, Luzardo using that pitch is big. I hope to see that pitch as frequently, if possible, as we saw it his last time out, because that's when he's got that pitch and he's commanding it in and out of the zone. He is that guy that you just saw. So, yeah, excited for
that comment. Luzardo, I don't think is a rookie. So,
yeah, that's just a technicality. He's a young pitcher. He's 24 years old. Okay. He is he's the youngest. He's right around Trevor's age. They're right about.
He's the youngest pitcher.
Yeah.
So speaking of age, I have a fun fact for you guys. Today Adam Wainwright and Jesus Luzardo, the age difference is 16. Can you guys guess the next age difference that Jesus Luzardo had last year between two pitchers? It was just under 16. He had another big age gap where he faced a veteran pitcher.
Not when he faced DeGrom, right? No.
What's the hint? Was it with the Marlins or was it with the A's?
With the Marlins. It happened last season.
Okay, so it wasn't Scherzer.
It's a veteran pitcher.
Was it John Lester?
No, it was in the division.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to give you.
Eric Fetty, no, I'm joking.
Nope.
Give it a minute. Give it 1 minute. Hold on. In the division.
Oh, look at this guy looking at
this. This would have been great Jeopardy question.
No, I don't think it's Charlie Morton, right? No, that's a
little
too
It is.
Okay.
Oh, you like getting that Jeopardy
one. 37, 14-year age difference, and now he's going 16 against Adam Wainwright. So
look at Navi out here.
And if we also, I think I have how Luzardo did that game. If I can get that really quick, he did lose that game against Charlie Morton. His pitching line that game: 3 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts.
That's
classic Jesus. Classic Luzardo.
That was the last time he went up against someone.
That's
a big age difference.
That's 2021 Luzardo. Come on.
Yeah, but I think now is a great time to go into predictions against the Cardinals. I think there's going to be a really fun series. You're going to see guys like Pujols, Arenado, who's from this area, Cuban. We're going to see Adam Wainwright, DeJong, whole bunch of stars on this Cardinals lineup. So for my prediction,
Guys, it's Paul DeYoung. It's Paul DeYoung, Kevin and Danny. Oof, DeYoung.
I can't see you, Isaac. I'm not listening. You're
right before Daniel gets into that, a reminder that we have fish picks at the start of every series coinciding with these live streams. The link is it's all on our site. I think I have it here somewhere at bit.ly/2022 fish picks to enter the props yourself. The points leader at the end of the first inning, which is by the end of April, gets a free t-shirt. We're going to give away 9 t-shirts over the course of the season. We have these props, 6 props for this series for you to pick over-unders, yes or no's, Marlins or Cardinals. You get the idea. So I encourage everybody to hop in there if they'd like to. You're running out of time. Just a few minutes left to get your picks in, just so you can have your predictions on the record, just like ours. Go ahead, Daniel.
So for my prediction, I have the Marlins taking this series 2-3. They're going to win this game. They're going to lose tomorrow, and then they're going to win Thursday. And for my MVP, I'm going to have, let's go with, I think Joey Wendell's going to have a pretty big series. He's been playing really well this season so far. They have him in a good position in the lineup, and I think Wendell's going to be my MVP. Kev?
Oh, no. I've been thinking about this all day because I know they'll win. I just don't know if they'll sweep or they'll take 2 out of 3. And I love Luzardo.
Noah's not here. We need a sweep.
Fuck it. I'm going sweep. They'll take
Whoa.
I don't know what I'm more surprised about.
No, yeah, they'll sweep. I think they'll sweep.
MVP?
Oh, MVP? Oh, Jesus Sanchez. I'm going to play it safe.
You think he's going to do good in the leadoff spot?
No, he'll do good in the next 2 games. Come on.
Eli?
I've seen this trap before where the team is coming off a nice series win and then they let you down right afterwards.
Oh, here we go.
I do not see them winning the series. I think it's going to be winning 1 out of 3.
Yeah.
Cardinals winning the series. We'll see. I was right about this opening week against the Giants when everybody was on their opening day high about it. And
Who else?
So the MVP probably going to come from the Cardinals in this one. I will go with I'll just say that Nolan Arenado stays red hot, slugging 1,000 on the season entering this one. He's going to be my MVP pick.
All we need is Alex to say they'll win 1 out of 3. So then the Marlins could win 3 out of, they could sweep.
Well, I was doing that, and then Eli beat me to it. I do think they win 1. I think they win the Sandy start. I think they lose tonight. I think they lose on Wednesday. I'm sorry. And I guess the MVP would come. I thought it was no matter what we pick a Marlins MVP. It can be from either team.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Eli picked the Cardinals to win the series, so obviously it's going to be Cardinal MVP.
Eli's only picked from the other team, if I'm correct.
Wait, yeah. In the first one I did. No, in the last series I had Marlin. I had Miggy Rowe, and that one didn't go particularly well.
Oh, yeah, no. Crusty. If I had picked the Marlins, I would have gone with Jesus Aguilar. I say he breaks out finally. I'm going to go with Dylan Carlson.
Oh, okay.
To be the MVP for the Cardinals. He'd be leading off probably all 3 days, playing center field, Rookie of the Year, 3rd spot last season. I think he's gonna make Miami pitchers pay.
Alex?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Isaac and Eli.
Jeez.
I like the pitching matchups. I think Luzardo against this lineup. I mean, I don't think he's going to be horrible tonight, but I think he maybe will definitely take a step back from what he did last start. So yeah, I think they lose tonight. I think they win tomorrow, and I think that they lose the Wednesday game. So I'm going to say the same as Isaac and Eli. I'm going to say they win 1 game out of 3. And I was going to pick Carlson because I love that guy, and he's not been good so far. I think he's going to be really good in this series. But I'll pick somebody different. We'll go
pick Corey.
Just to pick somebody different, I'll pick O'Neill. And that'll be my
go on.
I'm surprised Corey Dickerson is even starting against Luzardo.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
he's not in the lineup.
No, he's not in it.
Oh yeah, he's not.
Like I said, there's no lefties. So yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
So it looks like 3 of us are Cardinals fans of this series. It looks like going 1-2.
How many of you guys are Cardinal
I
players?
really
in
hope that
games?
Eli, Alex, and I are very wrong. I really hope
Yeah.
so. I turned down the Miami Heat game tonight to watch these guys and Max Meyer, Ronald Acuna. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm over 4 on picks.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I should just pick what I don't want to happen because it worked out last series. So I hope I'm wrong again. So I'm definitely with you, Isaac.
Heat and 4, by the way.
He have
Alright,
Heat of 4? Yeah, me
No
too.
one cares.
I care.
Well, we have 9 more minutes before the game starts. I'm going to leave it off so everyone can get their popcorn, get their MILB TV ready to watch that start with Max Meyer. I'm the host, Daniel, for Kevin, Eli, Alex, Isaac. We are Fish Stripes Live. And remember, we are presented by Loop. I didn't get to do this in the beginning. That's L-O-U-P-E. L-O-U-P-E. Loop.
What a capital, bro.
Well, that does it for us. Make sure to go watch all these great games happening, even the Heat.
What a way to end it, baby.
Good job, guys.
Seriously,
I got
great.
right at the right time. No, just-
Adios, guys.
Well,
Go Fish.
Why bother with empty shelves at retail stores, waiting 3 days for a break to fill, or driving across town to find out your hobby shop closed at 4 when you always have a card show in your pocket? With Loop, you can instantly buy cards, packs, boxes, or into auctions with the click of a button, and do it all while chatting with some of the best personalities and the best community in the hobby. Download the Loop app now on iOS or Android. Loop, a card show in your pocket.